So So Caleb Rogers ended up playing every single snap in the first quarter as well as third quarter for the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm not 100% sure what the plan for Caleb Rogers was coming into this game, but he did start. He played every snap in the first quarter. He played some snaps in the third quarter and some snaps in the fourth quarter for a combined 17 snaps. I'm not lying to you guys, man. There is something wrong with Pete Carroll because Caleb Rogers is so much better than Jordan Meredith, Alex Kappa. You could even make the argument he's better than Dylan Parham and Will Putnam. Now, Will Putnam is obviously young, and he's looked pretty good at times as well. But truth be told, Caleb Rogers has more upside than Dylan Parham, Jordan Meredith, and Alex Kappa. At least from what we've seen in these 17 snaps. And I'm excited, man. I'm really, really excited to talk about this guy. We'll watch pretty much every single one of these 17 snaps, and we'll just kind of go through it. Keep in mind, there's like 5 sacks through these plays, and we'll obviously watch some of these plays. So you're obviously going to get a split zone. So Caleb Rogers really just has to take number 91 and try moving him as far to the left as he can. And he does a pretty good job. He generates a little bit of movement. He locks in. He makes sure to seal it to the right side here. The running back picks up 5 yards on this one. So it's a pretty good job right here by Caleb Rogers. On the very next play, 2nd and 5, it's going to be an incomplete pass. Really not a huge deal. They are going to try to run a screen to the left. Caleb Rogers does do a pretty good job initially. So you're going to see him as well as Alex Kappa. They're going to double team number 91. Now keep in mind, number 91 is lined up to the left side of that center. Right, the long one technique, which means Caleb Rogers has to truly help Alex Kappa get in front of this guy because it is a screen play to the left side. And the initial part of this play is a pretty nice job. So again, you're going to get the double team. It is a play action, so they're essentially jump setting or showing play action to the defense. So they're going to go to number 91, and Rogers does a great job here. That's a good job helping to make sure Kappa gets in front of number 91. Now, he obviously has his eyes set to 0. You kind of see that pretty much right away. And I'm not sure if he should not have potentially gotten out here to number 2, or if that's DJ Glaze that's supposed to get out to this guy. Either way, you can tell he pretty much has his eyes set on the inside linebacker, but he is technically going to not make the block. Now, I'm not sure if the whistle's blown, so he kind of stops and kind of lets up, but he doesn't block his guy. But I do like the initial double team by him. And after that incomplete pass, you're going to have a 3rd and 5, and you're going to get a 8-yard sack on this one. Now, the guy that gets the sack is technically going to be the guy that Caleb Rogers is blocking. At least he's one of the guys that kind of gets in there. I think other guys probably get there first, though, truth be told. And I also think it's a pretty good job by Caleb Rogers initially, right? He does a pretty nice job with the hands, the ability to kind of anchor. You guys watch this play. So it's only a 3-step drop, and I believe it's number 91 that kind of generates that pressure. He takes Alex Kappa right back into the quarterback here. So it's kind of backing this up. Keep an eye on number 91. Watch him drive Alex Kappa back into the quarterback. Stone Forsythe also kind of gets pushed back into the quarterback. But really, it's the center on this one, to me, that ends up really getting beat. But when you watch Caleb Rogers on this play, it's a pretty nice job initially. The defensive end that's lined up on the inside here is going to fake an inside move, and he's going to come back over towards the left. And Rogers does a pretty good job stopping it. He gets his hands right on 45, the defensive end. He's a pretty nice job initially kind of staying in front of him. He does end up getting beat a little late, but I don't think it was him necessarily that kind of loses the rep. I think it's a little bit more on Kappa, and his guy kind of just cleans it up. So on the very next drive, the Chargers obviously go right downfield and score a touchdown. The second drive, the Raiders have the ball. It's a nice job right here by the Raiders offense. You're going to pick up 27 yards. Caleb Rogers doesn't do much on this one. And then you're going to have a 1st and 10. The running back only picks up 1 yard, but this is a pretty nice job by Rogers to generate some movement. It's not a clean reach block here by DJ Glaze. It's not super clean, right? 48 does a pretty good job holding off, and he kind of sets himself up in the gap. So with that, Jeanty's going to try to bend this all the way back over here to the left side of DJ Glaze. And Glaze just kind of gets controlled. Bud Dupree here sets the inside, comes back over the top. And it's a terrible, terrible job right here by DJ Glaze, truth be told. If this is a better block, there's a bigger lane potentially that's going to develop. And that's because of the block here by Caleb Rogers. It's a great job double team. Really pushes this man out of there. Now, he doesn't stick to 6 here. He looks, he checks him. Maybe he doesn't see him out of his helmet. Not 100% sure. But then he kind of looks back over here to the right. Again, it's a good block by Caleb Rogers. Right? There's nothing wrong by Caleb Rogers. And I'm going to be honest, guys, man, I think the DJ Glaze experiment should be over at this point. I don't see the upside. DJ Glaze doesn't do a whole lot of good things, and I think as a guard, he has more potential. As a tackle, I'm just not sold on this guy. And there's other plays that I'll show you guys as well as they come. This is 2nd and 9, which is the very, very next play. And a pretty bad job overall by the offensive line. Just a bunch of guys getting their butts kicked on this one. So we can break this play down here. This is a G lead, which essentially is a power-based run concept. You're going to get Dylan Parham to pull out in front. And everybody basically has a down block. So watch Dylan Parham. He's going to pull out in front. And you're going to see a bunch of guys just kind of essentially get slanted across. So let me go ahead and just design this play. The point of this play here is essentially get a double team here. And then Caleb Rogers is supposed to get up to maybe number 23. It could also be to number 91. It just really depends who flashes first. DJ Glaze, I believe, has 43. And I think Ian Thomas here has the defensive end. And then the kick out here happens by Dylan Parham, and that should be your run lane, right? Somewhere in between there. But what's going to end up happening is number 90 slants far to the left, 91 slants far to the left. I think all of these guys are just stunning to the inside. And with that, you'll see, especially the 2 inside guys, they're going to end up just crossing the face. Keep an eye on Kappa here. He's going to just straight up miss. Number 91 is going to cross his face. And the play is over before I think Ashton Jeanty even touches the ball, right? Like, 91 just gets right into the backfield pretty much right away. Look at what Ashton Jeanty's dealing with, man. He gets the ball here, and the defensive tackle's already in front of Alex Kappa, man. That is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Caleb Rogers doesn't do a great job either, right? He ends up getting crossed by number 90 as well. He does a better job than, I think, Kappa, but he still doesn't do a great job. We can look at some of the other guys. DJ Glaze, Ian Thomas are talking to one another. DJ Glaze and Thomas... so they I'm not even sure who the kick out guy was. I mean, this is just some confusion here. One of these guys should have went free. And I'm not sure if this communication here is which guy's supposed to go free. I know there's rules, depending on like alignment. Ian Thomas looks like he lets his guy go, but it also doesn't. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what happens on this one. Someone makes a mistake. Not a huge deal. Maybe I'm reading the play wrong. The Raiders do have a lot of college-based concepts as well this year in their playbook. 3rd and 9, right? So you run the ball twice, you pick up 1 yard. Now it's 3rd and 9. And you're going to get a sack on the quarterback once again. So let's go ahead and just watch this play. And it's just a really nicely designed simulated pressure, right? You're essentially going to line up all these different guys on the line of scrimmage. Gino's going to try to tell, people who to kind of block. I'm not even sure what happens here because Ashton Jeanty's going to come over here and pick up number 0 here. And I'm not sure if that's what Gino's telling him. Yeah, it does look like he's telling him you have 0. Keep an eye on number 91 and I believe 45 as well. Both of these guys are going to take like 2 steps. 91's going to make contact with Kappa and then he's going to drop off. 45 is going to make contact with Rogers and then he's going to drop off as well. Let me slow it down so it's a little bit easier to see. This is just a really good job by the coach. 91 makes contact, 45 comes, both guys drop off. And with that, you get guys that are essentially free, right? Derwin James comes free off the left edge. Linebacker number 0 also basically doesn't come free. Technically, Jeanty should have picked him up. I haven't really done a film breakdown on the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line in weeks. This is the same shit that happens every single day, truth be told, or every single game. And this is part of why I don't really care to break it down. It is just really bad. Coaching's bad. Players are bad. It's just bad overall, right? Just really, really bad. Caleb Rogers, on this one, you get the double team with Kappa. So really not a whole lot to talk about on this one. You're going to get another split zone action here. Caleb Rogers has a 3 technique, so he's going to have to just push him outwards. And he does an okay job, right? He gets through his block. But again, guys are just, there's just something wrong with the way this play kind of works. Center, left guard, left tackle, all are going to end up touching number 91. And it almost seems like the center and left tackle don't actually block anyone outside of that. All right, I don't know. It just does not look good the way things are kind of designed. 2nd and 3, this one picks up 2 yards. The Raiders are in a 3rd and 1. And on this play here, they're going to end up getting sacked. It's going to be an 8-yard loss. Again, just, I don't know. It's just really unfortunate. Now, on this one here, I believe it's Dylan Parham that ends up getting beat. Caleb Rogers doesn't do a great job, but you watch Dylan Parham on this one first and foremost. And then we'll talk about Caleb Rogers and kind of what he does. So Dylan Parham gets cross-chopped, and that guy just ends up kind of getting back there. The right tackle also, he's going to block, I believe, Cleo Mack here. He also kind of gets pushed right back into the quarterback. I mean, the quarterback just doesn't have the time, man. I mean, he takes the ball, you know, he looks right, he comes back to his left, this guy in his face. I don't know what else Smith can do on some of these plays. Caleb Rogers does not do a great job. You're gonna get a stunt on the inside. So number 99, he's gonna push him into Alex Kappa. Kappa gets into a really bad spot, and then Caleb Rogers also does not come back to number 91. Right? That's not fast enough. That's too slow. And I'm not sure if he gets held. Sometimes you do get these defense linemen that'll grab onto those hands. So I'm not sure if that's the case, if he's being held right there. It doesn't look like it. But he also does not do a good enough job. Now, again, regardless of him doing a good enough job, Dylan Parham and even DJ Glaze both lose super quickly, right? And number 91's right there kind of at the same time. That's just a bad overall rep. 3rd and 1, 8-yard sack, just a really, really bad job by the Raiders offensive line. Now, keep in mind, we are in the 3rd quarter at this point. You're going to get a 4-yard run on this one. It's a pretty good job right here by Caleb Rogers and DJ Glaze to generate a little bit of movement. Let me back this up to this angle. Watch the movement. That's pretty good movement right there. All right. About 3.5, 4 yards right there. Caleb Rogers does have to do a better job sticking to the block on this one. This looks like a power-based run concept. Get Dylan Parham to pull. It's just unfortunate. The way it's blocked sometimes, it's not great. I think it makes more sense. Like, the double team initially is okay, but no one's going to block the linebacker 6 here. He's going to end up getting way over the top, and then even then, DJ Glaze is a little late. If you're running power, you want that play to hit in the gap. You don't want your running back cutting back. So, again, just kind of unfortunate. I think the design's kind of bad. To me, it doesn't make sense to run this play way out here, right? Like if you're trying to trap number 98, given this guy's aligned so far out here. In the NFL, they talk about what is called the bubble when it comes to running. The bubble is right in between here. And just look at the gap that already exists. The center already kind of has this natural angle here. Left tackle can block out. Caleb Rogers has the angle on number 6. DJ Glaze would have a little bit of a difficult block, but you can make this happen. Tight end can get to the inside. To me, it makes way more sense to get to this guy as opposed to what the Raiders are trying to do. Instead, they're trying to run it way out here when, again, this guy's lined up in that long 3 technique. And it's just a bad overall play. Again, the Raiders... The offensive line, you can say, is broken, but I also think the run game is broken, right? Like the run game coordination. It's just really, really, really bad at this point. You guys can see Caleb Rogers on this one. Not a huge block, but he does hold his own, right? And then, at this point, if Caleb Rogers just holds his block, that's a win. Straight up, based off of how bad some of these guys have been. If he just holds his block, it's a win. Now, this was 2nd and 6. You pick up 1 yard. Now you're in a 3rd and 5, and you're going to get an 8-yard sack on the quarterback. Again, losing football right here. Just not good enough, right? Just not good enough. DJ Glaze gets bullied. And again, DJ Glaze, to me, the experiment should be over. They should, if the Raiders are smart, they should put in Charles Grant. I think it would be the smart thing to do. DJ Glaze does not have what it takes to be a starting tackle. Maybe he develops going into next season, but I still think the movement's not there. The power you can develop a little bit, the technique, but he just doesn't have the movement, right? Guys that are faster than him will always beat him around the edge. Caleb Rogers does a pretty nice job with this block. He does have one losing snap, which I think is upcoming here in a second. The Raiders' offensive line, to me, is just really, really, really poor. That was 3rd and 5. 1st and 10 is this one here. Now, keep in mind that last play you guys watched was early on in the 3rd quarter. Rogers does not play again until the game's basically over, right? There's 1 minute and 48 seconds left. He's going to play 4 snaps, and then the game's over, essentially. Here's another bad play. You'll see a stunt happen over here. D-tackle goes first. Edge player comes under. Dylan Parham's just not able to pick it up. To me, it's a really, really bad job. And you are going to get the double here on number 92, so it makes it a little bit easier for Caleb Rogers. But you got to do a better job if you're Dylan Parham. Now you're in a 2nd and 17 after that sack on 1st down. And pretty nice job on this one by Caleb Rogers. Not a terrible play if you guys ask me. It just kind of stays right on top of Tuli Tuipulotu. It is obviously a check down. You pick up about 4 yards, 3rd and 13. And this was the losing rep that Caleb Rogers had. And it doesn't lead to anything because there's already pressure on the quarterback. it is Caleb Rogers losing that kind of gets Geno Smith off his spot here. This is the only losing snap. And again, the crazy part of this is for a rookie, I feel like Caleb Rogers has way more upside than some of the other guys. And this is the final play. And also, even though Caleb Rogers is a rookie, I don't see so much in this tape where like, Jackson Powers-Johnson, we knew instantly this guy's the real deal. I don't 100% see that with Caleb Rogers. Although I do think he looks better than Jordan Meredith and Alex Kappa and even Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham also looked pretty good his rookie season as well. When a guy's not cut out for the NFL pretty much right away. When a guy has huge upside like JPJ, that pretty much right away. With Caleb Rogers, again, I think he's better than what we have, but is he the long-term solution? I'm not 100% sold yet, but I do think he has more upside. I do think he has more potential. And I also want DJ Glaze to get moved to guard because I think that also gives the Raiders a little bit more options. I think DJ Glaze, Caleb Rogers, I think they have potential at guard. And again, for the Raiders, Charles Grant has potential at right tackle. So we'll see what ends up happening, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Keep in mind, we only watched 17 snaps. There's a lot of bad things on tape. And if we watch the entire game, I could probably find you guys like 40 snaps where the offensive line just really sucks. But again, I don't really want to do those videos, to be honest with you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.